Greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show, coming from right here on my YouTube channel, brought to you in part by our friends at Mint Mobile. I am, of course, your host, John Campea, and it is an awesome honor and privilege, as it is every day, to have you, our international friends, gather around to talk about our favorite things in the world, movies, movie news, TV, streaming, all sorts of good things. Joining me here today on this Friday, congratulations for making it through to the end of another week, Mr. Robert Meyer Burnett. Robert, how you doing today, sir?
John, there's so much good stuff that I've been watching. I mean, we've got so much good stuff to talk about. I feel good today.
And you probably feel good because you got the feel-good queen herself. Chris Carr is here, rocking the Mario shirt. I like
Hell
that.
Yeah. Thank you. I love this shirt. Any opportunity I have to bust this out. Y'all, I'm all caught up on The Patient.
I'm not caught up yet.
John, you need to. I need to talk to somebody about this. It's so good. And it's so tense. And
For those of you who don't know, this is the Donald Gleason,
Yes.
Steve Carell show. Sitting
good.
over here, and it's important to note, the reigning champion of over-under, because we do have an over-under game today. Joining you guys in the live chat, the champ is here.
The champ.
Ray Ora.
Asterisk. The champ.
Asterisk the champ. I did tell you, there's a performance-enhancing drug investigation going on. Sitting right beside him, of course, running the show today, we got Jonathan Voico. Jonathan, how you doing?
Good. I'm tired, though. I saw a great show, Phoenix, at the YouTube Theater in Inglewood over by the SoFi Stadium Complex. It's awesome. Awesome complex. Great show.
That whole area over there, I've gone to SoFi twice now. It's a marvel. That stadium is an absolute marvel. It's incredible. Anyway, guys, most importantly, you guys are here today. Thank you so much for being here and making this show part of your day. Here's how today's show is going to go. We're going to break it into two parts as always. In the first half of the show, we're going to talk about some predetermined topics. Then in the second half of the show, we're going to take your live comments and questions. If you'd like to get a live comment or question addressed on the show, number one, you got to be watching live. Number two, when we get to the end of the main topics, we'll announce that we're opening up the super chats. We only leave them open for just a couple of minutes. But once we announce that they're open, that'll be your chance to fire in your thoughts, theories, opinions, questions, and we will spend the second half of the show addressing those there. Also, guys, want to do a little bit of housekeeping here. Want to remind you that if you need your daily fix of the John Campea Show, but you can't be in front of a YouTube video, maybe you're jogging or you're at the gym or something, good news, there's an audio-only version of the show that we simply call the John Campea Show podcast. Just go and find it on your favorite podcasting app of choice and subscribe to it today. We also have another feed for our after shows that we simply call After Show, where we talk about our Rings of Power, House of the Dragon, Andor, and other upcoming shows. So make sure you guys go and subscribe to that one as well. Okay, guys, with that all down, we've got a really packed show today. So let's get things moving. And we're going to start things off with this. You know, we've been talking for a while. I remember there was a big head scratcher when we found out that there was going to be a Weird Al Yankovic biopic, and it was going to be starring Daniel Radcliffe, who is roughly 4 feet shorter than Al. So that was an interesting choice right off the bat. And so, you know, thinking, and I'm a huge Weird Al fan. You guys all know that. I had a chance to meet him just recently. I love Weird Al. Been a big fan my whole life. So that's interesting, but I thought it was going to be a biopic. I thought it'd be funny, but I thought it was going to be a biopic. And then we saw the trailer, and it was more walk hard than walk the line, which was a little bit surprising. So clearly it was spoofing itself, this entire thing. I'm like, all right, how's that going to be? Rainn Wilson came in as Dr. Demento. All right, how's this going to be? Now, listen, I went to go see the U.S. premiere of Weird, the Al Yankovic story last night. And I went in with great trepidation because I recently saw Easter Sunday, which is the movie, almost kind of biographical movie of my favorite comedian in the world, Joe Coy. My favorite comedian in the world. And so I was so excited to go see this comedy. And right now, I think it might be the worst movie of the year. Really let me down. So I went in to go see Weird, the Al Yankovic story last night with great trepidation. It's the funniest film of the year. Anne was in tears sitting beside me. And I love the way Rolling Stone puts it. Weird, you're not ready for the glory that is this Weird Al biopic. It's absolutely true. I could not believe how insanely funny this movie is and smart. It's smart. It's constant setup, callback, setup, callback. Like, you know, a lot of times in these types of comedies and movies, there'll be one big callback joke, right? Something gets set up earlier in the movie. They think it's kind of like a nothing thing. And then later in the movie, there's a big callback to it and whatever. But there's several of those in this movie. Daniel Radcliffe is awesome in this. Absolutely phenomenal. He owns this thing. Now, Weird Al does all the singing. So Daniel Radcliffe just does all, but Daniel Radcliffe spent months studying accordion. He spent months studying accordion just so he could look as close as possible, as if he was playing, even though he was doing the lip syncing. And apparently they were saying, the shot is great. By the way, the two guys in the background, Weird Al's roommates, almost steal this movie. But Rainn Wilson nearly steals this movie. Who is it that plays Evan Rachel Wood?
Who plays Madonna?
She almost steals this movie. The roommates steal this movie. He steals this movie. Oh my God, she's Madonna.
She can sing.
Madonna in this movie is one of the greatest. I put her up there with Hannibal Lecter and Darth Vader as one of the greatest film villains of all time. It's absolutely hilarious. Now listen, you get into the third act of the film and there's definitely some UHF moments. If any of you guys watched UHF.
Yeah. Spatula City.
But Spatula City, Wheel of Fish. So it gets a little bit into that, but that just gave it a little bit of a Weird Al, thing. And who's the actor who plays MacGruber?
Will Forte.
Forte, yeah.
He's got a role in this.
Yay!
And he nearly steals it when he's on screen. I mean, everybody in this movie is so funny. It's completely satire, right? But oh my God, if you could tell from the trailer, and here's the thing. So at the premiere last night, there was a Q&A afterwards. Weird Al's on tour. So Weird Al was there. His wife was there, but the director and Rainn Wilson were there, and they were doing a Q&A. They shot the film. Guess how long they shot how long it took them to shoot this movie?
22 days.
18 days.
You lose,
They
Bob.
shot the movie in 18 days.
So was it 3 6-day weeks?
I have no idea. No idea.
Well,
Why didn't you ask your best friend?
Yeah, I'll give Al a call. See what he has
Yeah.
to say. But they shot it in 18 days. And here's the thing. The day before, Rainn Wilson wasn't supposed to play Dr. Demento. Patton Oswalt was.
Oh, Dip. That would have been fun too.
And the day before, he broke his foot. And they literally, the director and the guys from Funny or Die, apparently they already knew Rainn, and Rainn's a huge Weird Al fan, and they got him on the phone like the day before. They said, we literally talked to him on the phone. The next day he's on set shooting as Dr. Demento.
Was this a Funny or Die production too?
It's listed as a Funny or Die production.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow, okay.
So it's Roku and Funny. And Rainn Wilson during the Q&A is like, what is a Roku, by the way? Who is Roku? Who's making this thing? It was
I mean, are they going to release this theatrically?
They were talking about that last night. The plan is not to release it theatrically. The plan is just to release it on Roku next month. But I mean, the director, the moderator, they're all saying this movie, because I'll tell you what, this was a great example of why movie theaters are always better experiences than at home. Watching this movie with an audience last night,
It's probably sold out too.
it was packed. It was absolutely packed. Watching this movie with an audience was a totally different level of an experience. It was so much fun. And they were talking about that after the movie as well. It's like this is going to be fine sitting at home to watch it. It's going to be really good. But watching it with 500 other people, like packed into a room together and laughing and singing along with the songs and all this kind of stuff. And I just can't get over how good Daniel Radcliffe was in this. And his parents, his parents almost steal the movie. Like everything about this movie absolutely works. Again, this is me coming off of seeing my favorite comedian put out the worst film of the year to come out to see another one of my favorite celebs thankfully put out, honestly, one of my favorite movie-going experiences of the year. This movie is so funny. All the hype you heard coming out of Toronto, totally justified. By the way, I'm going to spoil one thing that's a post-credit, but it's not a scene, it's a picture. So they have, as the credits are rolling, pictures from Weird Al's life. But you could tell some of them aren't real. Some of them are photoshopped, right? So they have this one picture that makes it look like Queen Elizabeth has Weird Al in a headlock. The funny thing is, this movie premiered on the day Queen Elizabeth died. It premiered at the Toronto Film Festival on the day she died. So the director's saying, me and Al are behind the curtain in the theater in Toronto at the Toronto Film Festival, just watching the audience because we knew the picture was about to come out. And the picture, like every picture's come up and the audience is laughing. And then the Queen Elizabeth picture comes up and everybody laughs, but he goes, they only laugh for about a second. And then they went, oh. It goes like, it's like the day Queen Elizabeth died. But guys, I cannot recommend Weird, the Al Yankovic story enough. It's a truly, truly funny film. In a year that we really need some really good comedy, and this movie is it. Check it out. If you don't have a Roku, go buy one of the $40 Rokus or whatever. Just be ready to watch this thing when it comes out. It's fantastic. All right, guys, question is for you. Have you been looking forward to Weird? Maybe you haven't even seen the trailers yet. Maybe you're dying to see it. Whatever your thoughts are, jump down to the comment section below and leave those thoughts there. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to another off the top here, shall we? And that one is this. You know, under the category of 4Y, the Expendables franchise is one that kind of looks like it would fit under that. Like, I remember when they were making the first one, a lot of people were like, oh, come on. You're pulling all these aging, no longer really relevant, other than a couple of other stars like Jason Statham, whatever. What's the point of this? But then guess what? Expendables came out and a lot of people had a good time with it.
I couldn't tell you what it's about, but
I couldn't tell you what it's about either. At this point, I can't even remember what it's about. And then the second one came out, and I thought it was pretty fun. Now, was it the second or third one that had
Chuck
Blade?
Norris or who?
Wesley Snipes.
Snipes?
I think it's the third one.
Was that the third one, or was the third one with Mel Gibson?
That's with Mel.
Third was Mel, and also Chuck Norris finally appeared in 3.
Because Mel was an incredible villain in that one.
Yeah.
And anyway, they've turned out to actually be pretty fun. And so a lot of talk, but they have not made a ton of money. So when Sylvester Stallone was talking forever about making another one, a lot of people, including me, didn't think they would get another one made. But it is getting made. And not only that, we now have an actual release date. Expendables 4 is coming out in 2023. This comes us from the folks over at MovieWeb, who writes, a release date has finally been announced for the Expendables 4. In the works for many years, Lionsgate has set the long-awaited sequel to release in movie theaters on September 22nd, 2023. It might be facing off against some stiff competition that day, as Warner Brothers has also scheduled an unnamed DC movie to premiere on that day. That might be Blue Beetle. But anyway, Rob, you're hearing about this. Expendables 4, we knew it was, going to go into production, all that kind of stuff, but we got a release date for it. It's the tangibilization. Are you looking forward to an Expendables 4?
Not particularly, but I will say this. I enjoy them. What's not to love? You're watching all these characters. You know what? Just putting all these actors together, they're clearly having a good time. The thing about the Expendables films is they've never lived up to what I hoped they would be. Like, they're good, but they're not great. And they're not great because of John, I think back to my action film, my go-to action film of a movie that completely blew away my expectations is the Brian Bosworth, Lance Hendrickson film Stone Cold. I always go back to that.
Goes back to Stone Cold.
That movie, it should by no stretch of the imagination work at all. I love it, and it's got great action in it. I think the problem with the Expendables is it's always kind of let me down in terms of what I want. They're good. They're just not operatic. I want opera. I want astonishing explosions.
Is this not tragedy?
Is this not tragedy?
Well,
Truly, so many were expendable.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, boy.
Oh, there it is. There it is.
They did the thing.
The movie itself
They delivered on their promise.
was expendable.
I guess so.
Chris, what have you thought about the movies so far, and do you have any anticipation for this one?
So all I've seen of the Expendables is, I think, Expendables 2, Mickey Rourke's monologue, where he's talking about Lost, because my brother was like, you have to see this. I don't know what the hell this is. And it's the worst thing I've ever seen.
Don't you dare. Don't you dare.
Hey, don't be dissing Mickey.
So I have no, there's only one Mickey in my heart, and he eats cheese. But I have no expectations for this film. If they enjoy making these, great for them. Because the original cast too, it's only now down to Statham, Sly, and Dolph, right? Or who else is left?
Yeah, because I don't know if Randy Couture is coming back for it, and I don't know if why am I free? I love this guy. He's in the cop show with Andy Samberg.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine?
He's in Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Andre Bauer?
No, Terry Crews.
Terry Crews?
Oh,
Terry
right,
Crews.
right.
Terry Crews is coming back. Like I just don't know. Like those might be the only original
Okay.
three.
Because it sounds like they've got a whole new cast of characters coming in to mess around with them. Megan Fox, she
She can get off a motorcycle or
She's not
something.
Expendables.
she's well in action franchises. I mean, this could be fun. If this is your kind of movie, I'm excited for you.
And look, the reality is this too. It's got a certain built-in audience.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you make this thing for a low enough cost, this thing can be almost guaranteed profitable if you rein the expenses in and keep it reasonable, because it's going to make an automatic amount of money at some point. Like, it's not going to be a $600 million film, but it can be a $200 million film.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Redbox exclusive.
it can work fine.
Those
Anyway,
two were
guys,
expendable.
question is for you. What do you think about this? Next September, so about a year from now, we are getting our new Expendables movie. Are you excited about it? Have you been counting down the days? Are you like, what? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's get into the newest segment here on the John Campea Show, and that is our Mint Mobile hotline question of the day. Thanks to our friends and partners at Mint Mobile, we have a hotline that you can call with a question to be heard on the show, and you can call that hotline anytime 24/7 at 951-268-4259. Leave your question there, and maybe you'll hear it be selected for the John Campea Show. So, Jonathan, what's our Mint Mobile hotline question today?
Hey, crew. How are you guys doing today? I'm calling from San Diego, California, and I'm calling because I'm reading this report on the Hollywood Reporter right now that's concerning the Knives Out 2 release. And it's saying that for a week over Thanksgiving, 3 major theater chains are going to be carrying the movie. And to me, this kind of seems like a lose-lose-lose for theaters, the film, and Netflix. Less people are going to see the movie in theaters and therefore will want to watch it on Netflix. The movie's going to have less eyes on it. And the theaters are going to have a really, really good movie, but only for a week. What are your guys' thoughts on this? Is there something that I'm missing? Let me know what you think and bring on the filthy.
All right, thanks a lot for sending that in, man. And look, this is actually pretty big news,
It is.
because one of the biggest conflicts, I guess you can say, in the industry has been between Netflix and the theaters. And, Netflix theaters being like, you should put movies in theaters. Netflix being, well, yeah, but we have a streaming service, but they've been losing out on a lot of money, spending untold amounts of money on certain movies that literally don't make them a penny. And so they've been trying to come up with a way. Netflix and the major theater chains have, for the last while, trying to figure out a way that Netflix, while maintaining all of its core priorities, can put some of their movies in the theaters while the theaters maintain some of their core priorities. Now, look, my real estate agent said a really good piece of advice to me once. They said, my real estate agent said to me, this is when we're trying to negotiate to buy houses and stuff like that. He goes, look, some people think, good deals when it's a win-win. He goes, no, that doesn't happen. He said, a good deal is when everybody is a little bit unhappy. That's when you know you've got the right deal, when everybody is just a little bit unhappy. And I'm like, that actually makes a hell of a lot of sense. Look, Netflix and theaters, if they were going to come to any kind of a deal, you knew there was going to have to be compromises, right? Certain theatrical windows, who's going to put up how much marketing budget, how much, all that kind of stuff, how wide of a release. Both sides are going to have to come up with compromises. And we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, Rob, when they came to an impasse. We said, I don't know if they're going to be able to come up with this deal, but they did it. Netflix and the 3 major movie theater chains, Regal, AMC Theaters, and Cinemark, have reached a deal with Netflix. They've hammered it out. They all seem to be happy, but they both compromised. So this comes just from the folks at Deadline who write this. This is a big deal. For the first time, all 3 big exhibitors are on board with releasing a major Netflix title, that being the Rian Johnson-directed sequel to Knives Out, Glass Onion, a Knives Out mystery. The franchise that the streamer snapped up for nearly $400 million, as Deadline first told you. The movie will hit theaters on Wednesday, November 23rd, the day before Thanksgiving. So here's the basic gist of the deal. The movie theaters will have Knives Out 2, A Glass Onion, in theaters for 1 week, starting the day before Thanksgiving. Then the movie will go dark for about a month, and then the movie will pop up on Netflix. Now, the 2 big snags that has been preventing a deal between Netflix and the theater chains has again been, how big is the theatrical window going to be? That's always been Netflix's big holdup. And the theater's biggest holdup has been, how much marketing budget are you, Netflix, going to commit to marketing? Because there's no point in us putting this movie in our theaters if nobody knows it's in our theaters. And so they worked and negotiated, and they came up with this. Okay, so the basic question coming in from our viewer is this a lose-lose-lose? It's only in theaters for a week. Netflix isn't going to get the benefit of as much benefit as they can. The theaters aren't going to get as much benefit as they can. There's definitely compromises. But here's why I like this deal and why I think this deal will evolve over time. I think this is the first deal they've been able to strike. I think they're going to test it out. I think you're going to see Netflix and the theaters work again together. But here's why this can work. We all know that a movie makes, with very rare exceptions, the movie makes a vast majority of its money in its first week. The first week is the week when a movie makes most of its money. Hell, a recent report suggested that most movies make 80% of their box office in the first 2 weeks. So you're looking at the vast majority of people are going to want to get this. Here's the other thing. Knowing that this movie comes out on Netflix not for another month, there's going to be that whole thing, ooh, I get to see it a month early with a lot of people. I think that's going to drive a lot of ticket sales. So is it perfect for the movie theaters? No, to only have it for a week, but it's a compromise. They get it for a week, and that's the week when movies make most of their money. That's the week when movies get most people going to see them, and those people are going to buy popcorn and soda and all that kind of stuff. So that's going to work for the movie theaters. It's a compromise, but it's one that's going to work for them. Now for Netflix. I mean, only having a 1 week theatrical window that's out there. You're not letting word of mouth spread. You're not getting all that kind of stuff. So will it really help it a lot when it goes on Netflix? Well, again, like the theaters, Netflix did compromise. But think about this. If this movie makes, I don't know, $150 million, that's $150 million back in their pocket. That's like more than a third of their overall investment into this property in the first place recouped that they never would have gotten a single dollar before. Got to remember that. The alternative to this is that Netflix got nothing. Now they're going to get that. And Rob, the one thing you and I have always talked about is with it playing in theaters, it's going to make it that much more appealing to people to sign on to Netflix and watch it on Netflix. So yes, did Netflix compromise a few things? They absolutely did, but I still think they come out way ahead. So, Rob, I hear this deal and I'm like, you can see the compromises from a mile away, but you can also, if you look, you can see the wins for the theater. You can see the wins for Netflix. And I'm sure this is a type of deal that will evolve over time. I'm sure this won't be the same deal that'll be in place for the next 2 or 3 years. But anyway, you see this story. What are your first thoughts on it?
Well, look, I mean, we've always said on this show, and I think it's been bared out, that if a movie does well theatrically, it ups the value of that movie forever on whatever platform, whether it's streaming, whether it's physical media, whether it's digital download, whatever. It's more valuable. A movie like this, I do not understand why anybody would invest $200 million or $210 million into The Gray Man or $450 million into 2 Knives Out movies without the idea of doing because these are studio level films. The amount of money they're spending is the same amount of money as a major studio. Why don't they mount a campaign? Why aren't they releasing? I mean, this movie could potentially worldwide with this cast. I could see a movie like this making $500 million worldwide. Why would you not do that? Because the thing is, as we know,
by the way, the first one made over $300 million. That's the first one.
Yeah.
When nobody knew about it, and it didn't get its Oscar nominations and all that kind of stuff. Now it's probably going to be higher.
And that movie, the original Knives Out was made for $65 million or something like that. It
Somewhere
made
in that
300.
neighborhood.
So to me, it makes absolutely no sense. I understand they picked this up, but what are the economics?
By the way, the budget of the first one was $40 million.
Okay, $40 million, so it's worth even more. What are the economics on them putting this on their streaming service? All they're going to do by releasing it traditionally, I mean, look, like you said, this deal will evolve. I think what they're going to look at is they're going to be like, releasing it for a week didn't really give us what we wanted. I think they should commit. They should commit to a global release on this movie and spend $100 million marketing it, get the money back because, all the streaming services, Netflix only business model is based on subscribers.
Yes.
That's it. Why shouldn't they have global theatrical revenue as part of their business model? People because not everybody who's interested in seeing Knives Out is going to the movie theater. People are going to go, where is that Knives Out to? Oh, it's on Netflix. We don't have Netflix. I'll subscribe. I mean, if it made $500 million, they'll get say half of that, say 250 million into their coffers, and they've created global awareness, and people will be more happy to find it on Netflix. It makes no sense to me that they're spending this amount of money and they're not getting any kind of monetary return other than subscriptions.
So, Chris, I mean, I think there's also an argument to be made here for baby steps. This is the first thing. I agree with Rob that I think that probably in the future, Netflix will see this 1 week experiment and say, you know what, we could probably benefit even more from making it 2 or 3 weeks and then see where they go. But what do you think about this deal in principle? I mean, there's never been a deal like this with Netflix. I didn't even think this deal was possible. What are your takeaways for
Is this just a domestic release too for 1 week, or is this worldwide?
I believe it's domestic release, a 600 theater domestic release, but it could be wider than that.
I mean, it doesn't feel like baby steps. It feels like a very small crawl. And I feel like we should commit or get off the pot here. Because this whole time, like Rob was bringing up, I have not understood why they put so much money into this for a streaming service. Nor did I not understand why it wasn't getting a theatrical release from the get-go, because it does tick all those prestige boxes, and it needs to be in theaters in order to qualify for those things, right? So it makes sense they're going to have it in theaters. I don't know if I understand the logic here of just trying it for 1 week. They're just going to bare naked ladies it and then see what happens. Like,
nice reference.
I feel like
that.
I feel like we need a bit more commitment here, right? Because, we've seen it time and time again. People, when they love a movie, then they commit to the streaming, right? That's when we really see those numbers go up on our streaming services. So if you have this in theaters for a longer amount of time, I know in my household, when we love a movie, we then start watching it on a loop. So if I could go watch it in theaters and then the month after, then I can binge it all I want on Netflix, that would help. And it would also help me convince my family members, oh, hey, you didn't catch this? You should absolutely do a Netflix subscription since I kicked all of you off of mine. And they would maybe subscribe to this.
I still understand the idea coming from AMC Theaters, which is they literally have it in their employee handbook. They have on one of the inside covers of it that literally says crawl, walk, run. Mm-hmm. So I can totally see Netflix. I understand Netflix going, look, this is a total break from our traditional model. Let's stick our toe in the water. Let's see what kind of results we get here. Because I'm hoping at least that Netflix is looking long-term here. And so they're not just saying, because look, what I wouldn't want to have happen is them to put all their eggs in one basket with this, have it not go well, and then going, well, that's it. We tried the theatrical model and it didn't work for us. So so they're sticking their toe in the water the 1 week. I'm hoping they're going to see that this benefits them with all the things you were talking about, Rob, that they got all those benefits, and then they go, 6 months from now, they try it with another movie, they go, we're going to try 2 weeks. And then, maybe a year later, they try with another. And then 5 years from now, it'll just be a regular thing that Netflix puts their big major films in full theatrical releases first.
I still don't understand, though, that this film has done incredibly well at festivals already. It has great notices. People are saying it's better than the original. Mm-hmm. This is what a motion picture studio wants, is this movie. So they can look at the actual theatrical model that's worked for 100 years and go, let's just do that. I don't understand what their pushback is.
But at least let's give them credit that they're starting to move towards that exact thing you're describing.
But the thing is, why I don't understand why are they so reticent to just embrace a business model that we've already seen works?
Yeah.
Because the way they're doing business right now is the way they've done business for 20 years. And by the way, it's a way they've done business that have still, as much as we love Disney Plus, they are the number one player in the game. So
I understand that, but look,
it's difficult to convince people to change, especially change when it's worked for them for so long.
But I would say,
look
at your
stock is tanking, though. Embrace change or perish.
But I think.
Why are we getting so pissed off?
I 100% agree with you. That's why I think they're trying this. Mm-hmm. I just think instead of saying, well, why aren't you just going full blown into this right now? I think we got to be applauding them for saying, you know what? A lot of other companies like this die on their sword. They'll rather fall on their sword. But instead, they're breaking their traditional model. And I think this will lead them to exactly what you're talking about.
I would say that their traditional model doesn't work.
I agree. That's why they're trying this.
I mean, and theatrical, how can you imagine, okay, you're a Wall Street investor and you know that Netflix has finally decided to go all in and they have almost a bulletproof movie to do it with. this, Knives Out, coming off a 300 million gross. You've got great festival notices. You have an incredible cast. There's no better movie. And what does your investor say when it shows that this opened to $85 million? And it won't, because it's only in 600 screens. So they're not.
It can make 85 million on 600 screens.
Well, I think that you need a lot more screens for something like that. And what would an investor do? What they've done is they've set themselves up for this experiment to wind up being disappointing.
Why are you putting me in the position that I have to be the one defending Netflix? I've been the one attacking Netflix on this for years, saying they need to be theatrical, they need to be theatrical, and I'm
fun.
sitting here saying,
Because-
hey, good for them doing baby steps.
I just think in a case like this, you don't have to do baby steps. It's weird to me.
I think it's wise. I do. I've seen a lot of businesses tank because they didn't take intermediate steps before going whole hog into something. But I'm just happy they're doing it. Come on, let's be happy. They're gonna put a movie.
I mean,
in
what they should
theaters.
do then, if they want to do baby steps, give it to Lionsgate to release, and partner up with a distributor that'll put it in theaters and make their own. I'm sure Lionsgate would love to have this movie, and they'll market it for you. And since they don't care if theatrical, do a 50-50 split or 75-25 or something. Give it to somebody that's.
I just can't believe that Netflix is finally doing the thing you and I have been screaming for years that they need to do, and they're finally taking their first steps, and you're not giving them props for taking the first step.
I think they're doing it half-assed, and I think that they're
do it
leaving
harder.
money on the
Oh
table.
God! Oh, that's how businesses fail. That's how businesses fail.
Okay.
Anyway, guys, question is for you. Can we all just agree that in principle, them putting this movie in theaters
In
is a good
principle,
thing?
it's
In
good.
principle, it is.
It
yeah.
is good.
Right?
They're just doing it wrong.
Well, you know what? If we get 3 years from now, and because of this step approach, they're doing it on a regular basis, then we're all going to be happy.
It's true.
If this approach leads us to that, I'll be happy.
Well, this should be like the Disney model. So some things are like Disney Plus, some things are theatrical.
Oh, yeah.
It's like it's perfect. Some things would be Netflix, some things would be Netflix.
That's where I
theatrical.
think that they should go. I mean, I just watched the new trailer for
This could be a CEO issue. It could. Who knows?
the Lindsay
remember, even
Lohan
Disney-
Christmas movie.
Even Disney
I'm gonna
has
watch the
messed
shit
this
out of
up.
that movie. I
Like
love
Disney-
Christmas trash.
That Disney with Disney Plus, which is a brand new business, even they fucked this up. Like Disney was like, okay, so we're gonna have Black Widow, yeah, and we're gonna put it in theaters and on Disney Plus at
Yeah.
the same
Yeah.
time. That was a fuck show.
Yeah, and it was
so like even they're figuring it out, and they were brand new. So Netflix, which has done it one way for so long, for them to say we're gonna break our way of doing it because it does not work in the modern context, we're gonna take that first step towards that. Listen. Do I wish that they had come right out and said, fuck it, we're just full theatrical release? Of course I do. But I know that that's not realistic, that they were going to do that. I never thought they would do this. I never thought they'd even take the first step. So I'm just happy. I'll take it.
I'm going to be curious to see how they're going to reconceptualize their marketing, because if their trailers
Yeah.
look just
Yep.
like a Netflix trailer, they're going to cause confusion in the marketplace.
I agree. So there's a lot of things they need to listen. They need to relearn their industry now. And it's going to take them a little bit of time, but I think they're on the right road, at least at any rate. Guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? I mean, maybe you disagree with all of us and you're like, fuck theatrical. Just put this thing on Netflix. I want to watch this at home right now. I don't want to have to wait another month. And listen, I'm sure some of you do feel that way. Whatever you guys think, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, we're going to take a second here and thank one of the sponsors of today's episode, our friends and Netflix competitor in some way. Well, I guess the pharmacy isn't, but Amazon
Yes.
Pharmacy. Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's video, Amazon Pharmacy. I don't know about you, but when I need to go to the drugstore, I always seem to wait to the last minute, hoping that they'll be open, or I get stuck in a line, or both. And that's why I love Amazon Pharmacy. Yes, that Amazon. Amazon Pharmacy delivers a better pharmacy experience that delivers directly to your door and works with most insurance plans. Amazon Pharmacy helps you save time, save money, and stay healthy. They have transparent pricing, so you know what you'll pay before you pay it. That is clutch. As an added bonus, Prime members can save up to 80% on their prescriptions. And like I mentioned earlier, Amazon Pharmacy works with most insurance plans. And if you ever have any questions or problems, real pharmacists are always available at Amazon Pharmacy, no matter the time of day or night. A pharmacy that works for your life, with meds delivered to your door. It doesn't get any better than that. Switch to Amazon Pharmacy and save time, save money, and stay stay healthy. Learn more at amazon.com/Campea. That's amazon.com/Campea. Average savings based on usage and Inside RX data as compared to cash prices. Average savings for all generics are 78%, 37% for select brand medications. Restrictions apply. And thank you to our friends at Amazon Pharmacies for sponsoring this episode of the John Campea Show. Okay, guys, with that down, let's get into our main topics here today. And how do we select our main topics on the show? Well, that's easy. You guys come up with them. See, whenever you come across a big topic, issue, or story that you guys feel we need to cover as a main topic here on the show, just go anytime 24/7 over to www.thejohncampeashow.com/contact. Once you guys get there, you're going to see a form. Fill it out with your topic or question. It's absolutely free. Hit submit, and then maybe, just maybe, you might see your submission featured as a main topic here on the John Campea Show. With that down, Chris, what is our first main topic today?
Our first topic comes from Ron. Hey, John and crew, it finally came out. The first look at the Mario Brothers movie came out, and I think it looks great. Jack Black as Bowser seems fantastic. The only thing that still rubs me the wrong way is Chris Pratt as Mario. His Mario voice isn't very dissimilar from his regular voice. I just don't see what his casting adds to the role. Why not just get a real voice actor? What did you guys think of the trailer?
All right, Ron, thanks a lot for sending that in. And yes, yesterday, the Mario Brothers trailer looked. We talked about the poster that came out the other day. We love the poster. I mean, it was a perfect poster for a Super Mario Brothers movie. In case anybody was worried about what the aesthetics and the designs would look like, it is perfect. It looks great. So the trailer comes out yesterday, right near the end of the John Campea Show. And we watch it in here. And listen, I actually got to concur. I thought the trailer was great. Seeing Bowser show up, and the thing, and the penguins, that is but a taste of our fury.
I mean, that was
do you yield? I'm like, come on, this is awesome. And then Bowser just brings the whole city down by himself. Okay, so it looks great, and then Mario shows up, and it looks amazing. And then the controversy starts because Mario says 9 words. He says, "What is this place?" And then something about going to Mushroom Town, which I think is something Ray says every Friday night. But going to Mushroom Town or whatever it is the line is. And listen, a lot of people were not happy with how the voice sounds.
The wambulance came.
The wambulance came running down. The wambulance came. This comes from the folks at Variety who said the following. The trailer for Universal Pictures and Nintendo's The Super Mario Brothers movies has debuted, bringing with it a first listen of Chris Pratt's Mario voice. The actor told Variety earlier this year that he worked really closely with the directors to craft the perfect Mario voice, adding, "We tried out a few things and landed on something that I'm really proud of." So, what does Pratt's Mario voice sound like? He only gets 2 brief lines of dialogue in the trailer. "What is this place?" and "Mushroom Kingdom, here we come." But it was enough to send social media into a craze with reactions. Many users found Pratt's Mario voice too similar to Pratt's own speaking voice, which led to confusion as the actor previously touted the voice as unlike anything fans had heard before. And that comes to us from Variety. Okay.
That is true.
And it's absolutely true. He did say that. And first of all, the trailer itself, I think is a win. I think the trailer itself overall is a win. It looks great. I'm more interested today in watching this movie than I was yesterday. As far as Pratt's voice goes, I was okay when they announced that they were casting Chris Pratt to do the voice for it. I mean, you know me, I prefer if you actually get real professionally trained career voice actors to do it because they'll do a better job. But I was okay. I mean, listen, full credit. The job Chris Pratt did in Lego Movie was amazing. As I can't even remember the name of his character, the special, but I can't remember. But anyway, he was great in that. And I have been wondering what will a Mario voice sound like here. Being Italian, I want to hear the Italian in it. But okay, they're going with him, so let's hear this voice. There's something that I think a lot of people are missing here. And as much as Chris Pratt will say, "I worked with the directors," blah blah blah. At the end of the day, the decision of what will Mario sound like in our movie is the director's decision. At the end of the day, it's the director's decision. So if you don't like the voice we got from Chris Pratt, I have some news for you. Whoever they casted, that's kind of what the voice would have been, because that's the voice that the directors chose. This isn't Chris Pratt's fault. All right? Now, I'll tell you as well, when he started speaking and he says, "What is this place?" I'm like, well, that doesn't sound like Mario. I thought that too, but it's not Chris Pratt's fault. The directors have decided they want, for some reason, they want a normal. They want a more straightforward North American Caucasian sounding voice. And so whether they had Chris Pratt in that role or they had Ryan Reynolds in the role or they had John David Washington in the role or whatever, that's kind of what it would have sounded like because that's what the directors wanted. So I'm just saying, if you don't like the voice, I can be with you on that, but let's not blame Chris Pratt. Chris Pratt's the hired hand. Chris Pratt's the hired hand here. That said, I'm going to put on my tinfoil hat. I don't think the voice we heard in the trailer is the voice we're going to hear in the movie. I really don't. I think there's one of two options here. I think option number one is that this is a bit of a misdirect. If so, it's a bad one because it's just getting people talking negatively. Or we could, completely the opposite, we were talking about this before the show started, we could be in for a Sonic the Hedgehog situation where instead of them going back and doing a new skin for Sonic and putting it in, they just say, Chris, we need to come back in the studio for 4 days and we need to re-record the audio, which would be a lot simpler and a lot cheaper than trying to change the look of Sonic. And they may go back and do that and say, just kidding, everybody. But I honestly right now, and I have nothing to prove this with, this is just me speculating, I don't think the voice we heard in the trailer is going to be reflective of the voice we hear in the movie. At least I hope not. But then again, it was 2 lines. Maybe in context of the movie, they do it that way and it works perfectly fine. I just don't like it when I or any of us overreact to such a tiny sample size that we don't really have enough yet to base it on. But yeah, if you were to ask me, was I happy with the sound of the voice? Honestly, no. But anyway, Chris, you know, as a professional voice actor and voice instructor yourself, and as a Mario fan yourself, what did you think of the trailer?
It's an Italian icon. We have to respect him.
Yes.
I do love the initial reports, though. This isn't going to offend any Italian Americans. And it was like, as an Italian American, that is not my concern.
Yeah, I load up Mario every day. Thank you. I'm not offended.
I've watched that Family Guy episode. You all always say we all speak all boopity-boppity, right?
Boopity-boppity-beepity.
It's my dad's favorite joke. He's the only one who's not Italian in my family. But the concern for me was it's not Charles Martinet, who is the voice I've grown up with. He's voiced both Mario and Luigi since 1992. He's still in this movie. He's in this trailer. At the end, you see his name pop up. So it's not like they're completely discounting somebody who does this voice and is going to continue doing the voice in the video games. Do I love Chris Pratt's voice in this? Not really. It's kind of this Boston, New York little thing here. Maybe I'll be proven wrong because like you were saying, it's just a handful of words. That's not what I'm going to get super hung up on in this movie, though. Because the visuals in this make me happy. This is how Mario
Visually
should
looks
look.
great.
This looks stunning. The fight between the Koopas and the Penguins is so cute and lovely. And Jack Black's voice acting in this is incredible. Because I will say, as somebody who mostly does focus on voice acting, there are people who can do both, right? We have some on-camera actors who really translate beautifully to voiceover and are able to kind of reach that mezzanine vocally, if you will. There are other on-camera actors who cannot do that. And their performances are really, really flat because they don't breathe that life into a character. They're not actually being the third dimension of that character for them. You usually bring in these people because people come to movies for big names, right? I don't think we need that in animation, though. I really don't. And I think a lot of times we do end up with a lackluster performance because we go for a name as opposed to somebody who is well-trained in this. You know, get a Tara Strong in here, get an Eric Bauza in here, get these performers who are incredible and have this huge vocal range. That's not to poo-poo on what Chris's abilities are. And maybe I'll be proven wrong that he is the right voice for this Mario. I just don't understand why we don't go back to that kind of Disney sensibility from like the 1960s and 70s, where we had a stable of voice actors who we would constantly hear and we would go, oh man, these voices are so incredible, so profound. I wish we had that instead.
Rob, you were in here with us watching this trailer yesterday. What do you think about it?
I really like the trailer. You know, I thought it was great. I thought it looked good. It made me laugh. Like you said, that line from the whole penguin confrontation with Bowser and the Koopas or whatever. I laughed. I'm in. I'm like, okay. My thing about voice acting is, and the thing I've always loved about great voice acting is, does the voice look like it belongs in that character's mouth? Mm-hmm. And that's the thing. There are some times when I've heard Like, and when you hear a Tom Hanks or I hear Tom Hanks as Woody, kind of, but I hear Woody. And it's sometimes surprising to me when I found out who does a voice for a character.
Right.
Because I don't want to know. Like, I want to hear that character's voice coming out of that character. And maybe because I've heard a voice for Mario before, I just didn't feel that Chris Pratt's voice, it felt incongruous with the character of Mario, but there was so much going on in the trailer that I want to reserve judgment until I can have him or hear him having a conversation with another character where nothing else is going on.
You
know what I mean?
Too small of a sample size.
Yeah,
Ray,
yeah.
You saw this. What do you think?
Look, I'm going to say something that people might hate me for, but when you play Mario, you get a sentence or two, and
Here
then
we
you play a
go.
long level, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, an hour. Then you go back to another cutscene, a sentence or two. To get that Italian, super exaggerated voice for 2 hours talking, that might not be for me. You know, I'm just saying, like, I could
That's a good point.
That's
I could
actually
find
a
myself
really good point.
getting annoyed by it, to be honest. And that's just my opinion. I'm people see me as dumb anyway, so like if you're gonna get mad at what
But
my opinion is,
listen.
then
As an Italian myself, I can tell you that that is a point I'd not considered. That do I want to hear about 2 hours of this? And
We've got House of Gucci for that.
I go to my uncle's house for that. And like, do I want to hear 2 hours of
And
that?
I will
That's
say-
a really good point.
and this movie might do big overseas just because, you know, where Nintendo and Mario came from. Like maybe they've heard the Mario voice too much.
Well,
Maybe it'd be a different take on it. And you know what? I'm not gonna live and die by the sword of his voice, whatever. I enjoy what I saw. I love it. I'm so excited. Let's do this. Finally, Mario's back in my life. I haven't played a game in forever. So, and plus Chris Pratt, mentioned a game no one mentions. Super Mario, the arcade game. His love for this character might up the
Well,
level
it
of
should
this
be
movie.
pointed out when Mario first arrived, his voice was not the voice we know now. It wasn't that. It was more of a New Jersey accent kind of voice.
and I would say this. I mean, there's a segment of the Graham Norton show where Chris Pratt is talking about when he was visiting, when he's married to Anna Faris, he watched this British reality show.
Yes.
And you know
I
what?
love this clip.
Yeah, I love this clip, and he talks about how he learned to mimic the voices. And he's on the chair with Jude Law and another British comedian, and he does the voices of the characters from this British show.
Well, you think I'm your mother? We're going to go to Ibiza this weekend.
That's it. That's the clip, and it slays. And the thing is, Chris Pratt knows how to do voices. He's a great mimic in that way. And when you watch this, I still hold out hope that he has crafted a voice that I think we will all like. And again, I trust the directors, as you should, really. I mean, the rest of the film looks pretty great. You think they're going to let it fall down on a voice?
Well, again, I think what it all comes back to, we just got to keep in mind, we literally heard 2 lines.
Yeah.
We literally
And there's
heard
other noise
2
going on.
lines. Yeah. So let's, I mean, and did I particularly like what I heard? Not particularly, but it was 2 lines. Let's see what happens. And maybe they make changes. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What did you think about the Mario trailer overall? And then where do you think about the whole Chris Pratt voice situation, the decisions the directors made with it? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and leave your thoughts there. Okay, guys. With that down, let's move on to main topic number 2. Chris, what is our second main topic today?
This one comes from Hamza. So the Madam Web movie just got a whole lot more interesting. I saw some leaked set photos circulating online, which seemed to show a possible variant of Spider-Man. What's more interesting is that it looks like the person in the costume might be Aaron Taylor Johnson, but I thought he was Kraven. What do you all think of this? Thanks and bring on the filthy.
All right, Hamza, thank you so much for writing that in. And yeah, listen, the Madam Web project is one that I've gone through a personal, interesting journey with as a fan. I like many of you, why are they doing Madam Web? Why? And then when we started hearing whispers about what the plot actually was, I'm like, you know what? That could be really interesting. That could be really quite cool. And so I've kind of been in this status of, you know what? I'm interested. I'm not going to say I'm super excited for it, but I'm definitely interested after hearing what the movie's basic idea is. Well, now we got some set photos have come out, and these are kind of going around all over the place. And just so you know, well, yes, this, and go ahead and bring it up, Jonathan, this does look a little bit if you can bring up the image, this does look a little bit like Aaron Taylor Johnson. You should have an image I sent you, Jonathan, that actually has him facing forward. I sent that to you in the email earlier. Yeah, listen, you'd be forgiven for looking at that, where he looks a little bit like Aaron Taylor Johnson. And there's another image where he's facing forward. He's actually facing directly towards the front of the camera. But there it is. You look at that. I don't blame you at all for thinking that looked like Aaron Taylor Johnson, but it is not. It is Tahar Rahim is the actor there that's in that role. But that's not the story. The story is the suit. Look at the suit. It almost looks like a version. Well, number one, it kind of looks like a version of a Deadpool suit, to be honest with you. But when you look at that, and then let's go to that other image again, Jonathan, where you see him from the back. Yeah. It looks like it's webbing. It looks like a version of a Spider-Man suit. Is this another universe's version of Spider-Man? Which I'll tell you what, if you had asked me before, do I think Madam Web will have a version of Spider-Man in the movie? My guess would be probably no. Looking at this costume, listen, there's many characters that Tahar could be playing here. Many characters. But Rob, you have a more vast knowledge on this than I would. I look at the costume and I don't instantly recognize it as anything personally. But I do acknowledge, like, there's some spike. Listen, if you told me, showed me that picture and just said factually, that's a new Spider-Man variant costume, I'd go, I totally believe it. So I don't know what it is we're looking at, but it's intriguing. Rob, you saw these images. What did you think?
I'm sorry. What is this topic about?
There's a Madam Web movie.
I'm just kidding. No, I think it. Look, it's the color of that costume. It very much looks like some kind of a Spider-Man variant.
Yeah.
I mean, we were talking about it. Is it a Scarlet Spider variant? But the thing is, there's red and blue in it. It's muted red and blue. And if you look up, I zoomed in on the costume. It looks like it could be webbing or something. I mean, it looks very Daredevil-ish in a way. But if you look at it, the red and the blue, that right there, that image looks very Spider-esque and we know that the story is dealing with, if the reports are true. Like you said, it does sound very intriguing. But then again, the question, and we know what Madam Web's powers are and things like that. My curiosity would be, in terms of what we know of the story, is this kind of a Spider-Man variant? If it is a Spider-Man variant, does it work within the story that's being told? And I don't know. I mean, are they preventing?
Look, theoretically, you could be having a Terminator Sarah Connor situation here.
Yeah,
right?
you could.
I mean, look,
That could be Miguel O'Hara.
I mean, that could be Thomas Wayne.
It could be Ben Reilly.
You know, like, yeah, it could be like, but a Thomas Wayne thing. Like it's the Batman that never was. It's
Yes.
the Spider-Man that never was. That's what that says to me. Like there is and why not? I mean, that'd be cool.
You know, we can have Spider-Ham,
which we've had. And yeah, I mean, I'm curious. The jokes aside, the movie does sound intriguing to me. Obviously, they greenlit it. They're making it. So, if I was a betting man, I would say it is some kind of a spider variant.
Mm-hmm.
Chris, you taking a look at these images? What do you think about it?
I mean, a Spider-Man variant makes the most sense given Madam Web, because that's her whole thing, is bringing together the various spider peoples through the universe to come together to fight evil and everything. So this could be one of those things where this is someone from the future, Miguel O'Hara, Spider-Man 2099. This could be some kind of, Kane Parker, the Scarlet Spider clone that the Jackal helped create.
Yeah.
It could be an entirely brand new character for the purposes of this. The animated series had all kinds of ridiculous Spider-Men.
Yeah.
So this could be something totally new as
And
well.
could be a villain.
Yeah.
The
This
clone saga.
Yeah. Well, and especially if we do that kind of Scarlet Spider route too, because Kane becomes incredibly unstable and they do all kinds of experimentation on him as well. There's a degenerative disorder that would tie in also with Madam Web's degenerative disorder. So that could be a really interesting through line through the series as well here too. So there's a lot of possibilities here. It's fun to speculate about.
There was a video game too where like Madam Web was like pulling different Spider-Men from all the different realities to help stop something. I can't remember which game
Shattered
it was.
Dimensions.
Is that what it was?
Yes,
There
and
you go.
it's
So I mean, there
epic.
could be a little bit of that being borrowed here too. Or again, it literally could be a completely new character that is nothing spider related whatsoever. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about these new images coming out? I got to admit, while I was not on board with this Madam Web thing for a long time, the reports coming out about what the storyline could be and now seeing the images, I got to admit, it's got my interest here. How do you guys feel about it? Jump down to the comment section below and leave your thoughts there. Okay, guys, with that down, we're going to take a second and thank another sponsor of today's episode. I happen to be wearing them right now. Our friends at MeUndies. Guys, we want to take a second to thank the sponsor of this video, MeUndies. Now, guys, I admit for all my life, I have been a low quality underwear wearing kind of guy. I always just got the cheapest pack of underwear I could find because I never really thought about it. Well, that all changed when I started wearing MeUndies. They are simply the softest and most comfortable underwear I have ever owned, and I will never go back. And guys, spooky season is here, and so is the latest Halloween collection by MeUndies. Warning though, it's scary soft. MeUndies is back with a new limited edition prints like Jack Attack, No Body Like You, and Spell It Out. So go on and grab undies, socks, bralettes, and more made from their feels like you have nothing on micromodal fabric. And if you need a last minute costume, be lazy and transform into a spooky skeleton with their loungewear set, Lazy Bones. Guys, the scary soft hype is real. If you're not impressed with MeUndies, your first pair is on us. That's a promise. To get 20% off your first order and free standard shipping on US orders, go to MeUndies.com/Campea. That's MeUndies.com/Campea. And thank you to our friends at MeUndies for sponsoring this episode of the John Campea Show. Remember, guys, when you support our sponsors, you're actually supporting us. So if you want a pair of these, I got to tell you, they're the most comfortable underwear I've ever had in my life. If you want a pair of those, you'll find links to all of our sponsors and the promo codes at the top of the description of this video down below. And thank you again to MeUndies. Okay, guys, with that down, let's move on to main topic number 3. Chris, what is our third main topic today?
You were just talking about his dad. It's Bruce Wayne. Hey, crew. It was officially announced that The Batman 2022 would be getting a spin-off show on HBO Max about the Penguin with Colin Farrell reprising the role. Not much has been revealed about the series except for the fact that it begins filming early next year and that Matt Reeves won't be directing. Well, now it's being reported that Craig Zobel is in talks to direct. What do you think about this potential pick? I think he'd be great. Thanks and have a great day.
All right. Thanks a lot for saying that in, man. And listen, I remember prior to the Batman coming out saying they've already greenlit this spin-off series of Colin Farrell's The Penguin. I'm like, okay, well, that's interesting. And then we saw the movie. And Colin Farrell as the Penguin is as one of the absolute highlights of the film. He's incredible in it. And I still, to this day, when I open it up and look at it, I still have a hard time believing that that's actually Colin Farrell under there. Anyway, he's getting his own HBO spin-off series. We know Matt Reeves was working very, very hard on it and very closely with it, but he wouldn't be actually directing it himself. And now it sounds like we've got the, or maybe one of the directors of the series in Craig Zobel. This comes to us from the folks over at The Direct who write the following. Craig Zobel is best known for recently for his work on 7 episodes of Mayor of Easttown, which was awesome, which earned 16 Emmy nominations and 4 wins for its run in 2021, including a win for WandaVision's own Evan Peters. Now, the director's upcoming work on The Penguin will mark his first true jump into the world of superhero TV shows as he brings Colin Farrell's mysterious mobster villain to a more in-depth small screen story. He'll work in tandem with the Batman director Matt Reeves on the story, with Reeves already having made major headway after working for so long to bring the Penguin into his own theatrical story earlier in 2022. With the villain only enjoying about 10 minutes of screen time alongside Robert Pattinson and crew, this series will give the character a true chance to shine and show all that and show that he means business in the Gotham underworld. All right. I remember when they were talking about The Last of Us, the moment they brought up that the person running it was the person who did Chernobyl. And we were like, if I wasn't already in, I am in. You tell me that the person who's going to be at least one of the directors, maybe the director, maybe one of the directors of this upcoming Penguin series is the guy who directed The Mayor of Easttown. Mm-hmm. By the way, guys, if you have not seen Mayor of Easttown, not to be confused with The Mayor of Kingstown, not in the same cinematic universe, totally different shows. But if you have not seen Mayor of Easttown, it's incredible. It's so good. You got to see it. But he's been a busy boy. He directed that movie that was the last one I saw in theaters before the pandemic, The Hunt. I admit I didn't love The Hunt, but a lot of people really, really did enjoy that one. He's directed on shows like Westworld, The Leftovers, American Gods. Z for Zachariah, which was, I mean, he worked with top-notch actors in that project. So this guy's, I mean, he's got a resume. So I was already excited about this Penguin project. Double it down now. I am as much looking forward to this as almost any other show coming out right now. I think this sounds incredible. Rob, you hear about this? What do you think about it?
Oh, I think it's fantastic. I mean, like you said, I loved Mayor of Easttown. I thought it was compelling, great characters. I mean, Kate Winslet delivers a fearless performance in that show.
Yeah, I think the best of her career.
Absolutely. It's just incredible. And to have somebody of his caliber want to take this show on, I mean, you know, I would imagine the way Colin Farrell immersed himself into this role. I mean, there's always an element of vanity in an actor, you know, and Colin Farrell's a good looking dude. The fact that he was willing to sort of sublimate everything about himself into this performance, and it truly was a performance that came out of him and it didn't rely on anything about his normal tools, his looks, that's a fearless way to go. Kind of the way Kate Winslet did the same thing in Mayor of Easttown. So I think Craig Zobel as a director is a perfect guy to do this. And I'm sure the two of them working together are going to give us something pretty special. At least that's what I would say.
I remember when we were going in to watch the Batman, I had mentioned to you, I said, you know, I'm kind of afraid, like Colin Farrell's a great actor, so I know he'll do great, but I'm afraid all I'm going to see are the prosthetics. All I'm going to see is the bodysuit. He was on screen for about 10 seconds, and after that, I totally forgot it was Colin Farrell.
Yep.
All I saw was a fucking fantastic performance. Anyway, Chris, you hear about this. What do you think about the addition of this director?
Oh, just echoing you guys. I think this is wonderful because we've seen this work in other kind of big IP franchises, right? Star Wars having people come in to do a spy thriller is working really well, right? For Andor. I think this makes sense to have somebody who can deal with gritty crime in the superhero world because I really don't care in this story about seeing superheroed individuals. I want to see that horrible Gotham underbelly. I want to see the seedy crime. I want to see crooked cops. I want to see him just taking out people. And I think that this is going to deliver on that. So I'm very, very pumped about it. Also, if you haven't watched Colin's Hot Ones episode, highly, highly recommend it. He talks about the prosthetics and how it kind of helps him get into the character and everything, because the best acting should be stripped of its vanity, to go back to your point.
I agree.
All right, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? It looks like the Mayor of Easttown director is going to be the or one of the directors of the upcoming Penguin series on HBO. I was already looking forward to it. I am bubbling with excitement for now. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys, with that down, we're going to take a second here and play a little game of over under.
Oh, no.
And today is a special, since we were just talking about the Penguin, we're going to make it the Batman edition. This will be the Batman edition of over under. Now, we have played recently 2 games of over under, and we have an undefeated champ back there, the people's champ.
I don't want it no more.
It's lonely at the top.
Champ Pleasures is back here, and he's the king here. So we've got another game of over under. This one is Batman related. So
And can I say just compliments to the showrunner? What a wonderful topic to do it.
I'm glad you enjoyed that, Matt. All right. So our topic, all the questions today in over under are going to be based on the Batman. Here's the basic way of how over under works, and you are encouraged to play along at home. I'm going to read out a question, and it's going to have an answer of either over or under. We will give our participants here, who are, of course, Ray, Chris, and Rob, we're going to give them a couple seconds to think about it, and then they will either hold up a thumbs up. Let's go to Chris on this. They will hold up a thumbs up saying that they believe the answer is over, or a thumbs down indicating they think the answer is under. And then we will go through 7 questions. We will see who will win. Now, normally in over under, we have each one of our players representing one of our channel members. However, I was up till 5 in the morning and I forgot to get channel members to submit themselves. So this is just going to be the game for the game's sake.
Good, I won't lose for anyone.
That's right. So, all right. Are we ready to go? Let's get to it. Our first question in over under today is this. How much screen time did Andy Serkis's Alfred have in The Batman? Over or under 12.5 minutes. How much screen time did Andy Serkis's Alfred have in The Batman? Over or under 12.5 minutes? And your answer's in 3, 2, 1. Hold them out. Chris is saying over. Rob and Ray are both saying under. And the answer is Over. Alfred has 14 minutes of screen time in The Batman. So Chris, for the first time in Over Under, races into the lead.
Yay, it's going to be so short-lived.
Okay, and of course, Taylor, you keeping score, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Chris is in the lead. Let's move into question number 2. How many tracks, or songs, if you will, are on the Batman official soundtrack? Over or under 23.5? How many tracks are on the Batman official soundtrack? Over or under 23.5? And your answer in 3, 2, 1. Chris, Rob, and Ray are all saying under, and the answer is over. The Batman official soundtrack has 29 tracks on it. 29 tracks. All right, that means Chris is still in the lead by 1 over Ray and Rob. As we move on to question number 3. In his Twilight series of films, how many times did Robert Pattinson's Edward say the name Bella? Over or under 58.5? And just let me say, I would be very disappointed in anybody who gets this question right. All right. In his Twilight series of films, how many times did Robert Pattinson's Edward say the name Bella? Over or under 58.5 times? And your answer in 3, 2, 1. Answers. Chris is saying over, Rob and Ray are saying under, and the answer is over. Edward says the name Bella 63 times over the course of 5 films.
Seems healthy.
John, did you count that? Is that why you didn't get much sleep last night?
Fortunately, I found some sites that actually tallied up those things.
He logged out like 3
I went through
times,
all
so he
5
kept
movies
doing
last night, counting every single one. I'm a stickler for details. All right, we're 3 questions in, 4 to go. Chris is in the lead by 2. So how much did The Batman make on its opening weekend at the box office? Over or under $141 million? And your answers in 3, 2, 1. Everybody is saying under, and the answer is indeed under. The Batman made $134 million on its opening weekend. It was the number 1 film that weekend, finishing ahead of the number 2 movie, Uncharted, which made $11 million that weekend. All right.
Uncharted, baby.
All right. Chris is in the lead by 2. 3 questions left to go. Theoretically, she could lock it up here.
Yeah, lock
The
it up,
one
Chris.
when I'm not playing for someone, I do well.
On our 5th question, which is, how big of a drop-off did The Batman have in its second weekend at the box office? Over or under 53.5% drop?
Who knows?
How big of a drop-off did
Well,
The
I know,
Batman have in its second weekend at the box office? Over or under 53.5%? And your answers in 3, 2, 1. Paddles up. Chris is saying under. Ray is saying under. Rob is saying over. And the answer is under. The Batman took just a 50.6% drop off from its opening weekend, making $66.5 million. So right now we got Chris in the lead. 1 point behind her is Ray. 2 points behind.
No, I'm 2 points
3
behind.
points behind
I'm
is
2
Rob
points
now,
behind.
right?
I think it's Chris with 4, Ray with 2, Rob with 1.
That's right. Ray with 2. Okay. And Rob has how many?
1.
1.
You can lock it up right here.
So now she can again. This is a clincher question for Chris. Ray still has time to race back here. And question number 6 is this. When The Batman officially opened on the weekend of March 4th, how many North American theaters did it play in? Over or under 4,200? What? When The Batman officially opened on the weekend of March 4th, how many North American theaters did it play in? Over or under 4,200 theaters?
What a great weekend that was.
And your answer in 3, 2, 1. Ray and
picked the right
Chris are saying over. Rob is saying under. Ray is saying under. And the answer is over.
Oh, that could have been this.
Batman
Dang.
opened in 4,417 theaters during its opening weekend, which means Chris Carr has won this
The Rob
installment of
Peters.
Over Under. Now, just for fun, we will do the final question here. Let's get the final question in since I did stay up to prepare.
Join the team,
let's do it
Chris.
anyway.
And I had to make
Welcome
the
to the
graphics.
team.
Oh, thank you, Ray.
The winner's
Thank you.
circle. Chris joins the winner's circle. All right. Final question, even though Chris has already locked it up. John Turturro plays mobster Carmine Falcone in The Batman. Including Turturro, How many actors have played a live action Carmine Falcone? Over or under 3.5. John Turturro plays Mobster Carmine Falcone of the Batman, including Turturro. How many actors have played the live action Carmine Falcone? Over or under 3.5. And your answers in 3, 2, 1. Raise them up. Rob is saying over. Chris and Ray are saying under. And the answer is nothing. Under. The answer is under. 3 actors have played a live-action Carmine Falcone. John Turturro, John Doman, who played him in Gotham, and Tom Wilkinson, who played him in the Christopher Nolan Batman films. And so, Taylor, what is our final tally?
Oh, no. Okay, I think Chris has 5, Ray has 3, and Rob has 2.
Yeah, because they would have gone up by 1 each.
There we go. So, ladies and gentlemen, your new winner of Over Under is, of course, Chris Carr. Congratulations, Chris.
Oh my gosh. I just want to thank my mom and God. Thank you.
All right, guys.
I have a complaint.
Uh-oh.
You stuck a Twilight question in there. I think that's favorite.
Did that throw you off?
I didn't see Twilight for the first time until the pandemic, too, so it's
I'm
fresh in
just
my
kidding.
brain.
No, you're totally fresh in your brain.
It's
You
so
wasted
fresh.
your pandemic time on Twilight?
Listen, I was real drunk a lot of the pandemic.
Hey, questions for you. How did you guys do at home? Did you play along? And if so, how did you guys do? Anyway, all right. With that fun stuff down and out of the way, let's move on now to main topic number 4. And of course, Over Under will return again next week. All right. Maybe you played a couple times next week. All right, Chris, what is our 4th main topic today?
Our 4th topic comes from Morris Haddock. Greetings, everyone. Oh my God. Did you guys have a chance to see Werewolf by Night? I'm honestly blown away. I never thought Marvel could or would make something like that. The style is so different from anything they've ever done, and the horror parts of it really, truly worked. I completely loved it. What did you guys think?
All right. Thanks for sending that in, Morris. I don't mind telling you, I've had zero interest in this special from the moment they announced it. And then once I started hearing the reviews and reactions to it come out, I was like, oh, all right. Okay. Well, if it's all that, maybe. So I went from completely not interested to at least interested. So last night, after getting back home from the Weird Al premiere, I went and sat down, watched Werewolf by Night. I got to say I'm impressed. You know, Marvel's Disney Plus offerings have been a mixed bag, right? Some super great stuff, WandaVision, Ms. Marvel, a couple of really, really great things. Some not so great things as well. Hawkeye, She-Hulk. I'm sure many of you like Hawkeye and She-Hulk, and that's great. I'm not trashing on your opinion. I'm just saying for me, those ones didn't work. So kind of a mixed bag. I'll tell you what, Rob, this was truly one of those things where what they set out to make, they nailed it. They meant to make this retro, old style horror film, like a 1940s or 50s horror film that was made in the 80s. That's kind of what this feel you had with it. And they captured it. Like right from the beginning narration, through the character introductions, the way the action was played out. This was a thoroughly enjoyable watch. And listen, I know why they made it in black and white. They made it in black and white so they could get away with blood.
Yeah.
That's why because there's a lot of blood in this thing, but it's in black and white, so no TV, MA or anything like that. You're perfectly safe.
Just an oil spill.
Just an oil spill. He was spitting oil. That's all it was. I'll tell you what, Rob, for a project that I was not all that keen on, not all that interested in, this is one of the best things Marvel's put out in all of Phase 4. I mean, I thought it was really quite good at clocking in at just under an hour. It is a totally self-contained thing. And I thought it was great. I really, really did. I'm very, very impressed with it. I know you've been looking forward to this a lot more than I have. What did you think about Werewolf by Night?
Oh, I was enchanted. I loved. You know what? I knew I was going to love this when the Marvel logo turned into horror themed. You know, and the music changed. And Giacchino, his score for this was amazing. I love the score. You know, he both directed and scored it. And you know, other than like John Ottman, who did Urban Legend 2, I can't think of a composer who also directs. Other than John Carpenter, I guess I'm wrong. John Carpenter does too, but there aren't a lot of people that have that skill
Has
set.
Robert Rodriguez done that too?
He has played
right,
music and some stuff. So it was pretty neat. I thought the whole thing, I love the casting. I love the set design. I love the creature design. And I love the fact that the werewolf was more human than wolf. Like
Which again was a kind of a throwback to the old
total
style.
throwback, which I really liked. And I love seeing Ted. I love seeing Man-Thing in this. And I thought it was so great. And I love the lore, adding with the bloodstone and all of that. I thought the whole thing was great. And I love when they got to
Now, let's not go into too many details or spoilers.
Well,
Where's the
when they said
icon?
a certain number, and it was like, oh, really?
69, dude.
I love that. And he goes, well, yeah, I loved everything about this. I love the way it began. I love the way it ended. I want to see more of this. It was great.
And again, I thought, I remember when the thing ended, I remember thinking to myself something I've been saying for a while, that I want Marvel to take more risks of telling some separate, isolated, independent stories where your creators don't have to worry about what's going on in the MCU. They don't even have to pay any attention to what's going on in the MCU. Just make your own thing. Don't worry about the rest of the world. Just make your thing. And they did it. I'll tell you one other thing that I really loved about this. When the show started, because I did not take a look at the casting or anything, when one of the main characters, Elsa, shows up, I'm like, how do I know her? How do I know her? How do I know her? This is driving me crazy. This is driving me crazy. Then it finally dawned on me. It's the girl who played Madame True in The Nevers, which I actually, until the show completely fell apart in its final episode or two, I was really liking The Nevers. It had a horrible ending to that show, but I was really, really liking that show. And she was the lead in it. And I was like, that's where I knew her from. I loved her in that. She legit is an action star. She's great at action in The Nevers. Her action stuff here was really quite good. I really enjoyed her in this. And I don't know the name of the lead actor either, but he was wonderful. And he felt like he was right out of a 1940s, 1950s kind of production as well.
Gale? Who's the...
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
And not only that, I love the set design.
The set design was fantastic.
Most of it takes place in what they call the garden. And it had that sort of hellish, labyrinthian look, the little Mario Bava, little Clive Barker. It was really cool.
Anyway, guys, question is for you. Did you have a chance to see Werewolf by Night? If so, what did you think about it? I thought it was a big win for them. Whatever your thoughts were, jump down to the comment section below and leave those thoughts there. All right, guys. With that down, let's move into our fifth and final main topic today. Chris, what is our fifth main topic today?
Oh, our fifth topic comes from Ben W., who might be my ex-boyfriend. Hi, Ben. Hey, Campea crew. I saw a report from The Direct saying that an industry insider has suggested that Henry Cavill is reportedly in talks with WB to do a new Man of Steel movie due to Dwayne Johnson's negotiations and going hard in full court press on WB to get Cavill back. Have you seen this report, and does it make sense or hold any truth considering the rumors of the BA cameo, Black Adam cameo? Thanks, and bring on the filthy.
All right, Ben, thanks a lot for sending that in, and stop harassing Chris. So, listen, we talked yesterday about the reports coming out that Superman, Henry Cavill, shows up in a Black Adam cameo, okay? Whether that ends up being true or not, we'll find out. But we also said that if that is true, the big news is not his appearance in Black Adam. The big news is that Henry Cavill is still Superman in the DCU, whether he's in Black Adam for 10 minutes or 10 seconds. It doesn't matter. All that matters is it indicates that he is back. And if he's back, what are the wider ramifications of that? Well, this comes to us from The Direct. And it said this. I got some more information about this. It's not like specific. It's all behind the scenes stuff that I thought was kind of fascinating, which is that the reason why Henry Cavill has returned as Superman in Black Adam is because The Rock demanded it. Like, he went hard, full court press on Warner Brothers and made them go to Henry Cavill, and they had to sign a new deal with Henry Cavill, including saying that they were going to develop a new Superman movie. That they are going to develop a new Superman movie. And it was all because The Rock insisted. They have now locked themselves into another Henry Cavill Superman by agreeing to Johnson's terms. Now, this is quoted in The Direct. It comes from a podcast where one of the guests was the former editor-in-chief of Birth Movies Death. That's of course run by Alamo Drafthouse. So that's the industry insider that this was coming from. And this is exactly what we were speculating. Is that
Exactly.
if Henry Cavill is indeed there, then he's not just coming in to do a cameo. It means he's back. And it would mean that probably we're going to see him pop up another ensemble movie, or we were finally going to get our new Superman movie, a Man of Steel 2, whatever they decide to call it. And now these reports are coming out that that's exactly what happened behind the scene. Okay. So I already blew my proverbial load yesterday just at the excitement that Henry Cavill's back. So I'm a little bit more composed at this, because if Henry Cavill is indeed back in Black Adam, as the reports coming out are saying that he is, then this is the logical thing. I mean, listen, I thought this should never have even been a question. I mean, I get it. I did. I understand that Warner Brothers under the old regime was looking at saying, you know what, we never got the box office return with Henry as Superman that we always wanted, but that was never Henry Cavill's fault. All you can ask your actor to do is to put in the best performance possible. And I personally think Henry Cavill's the best Superman we've ever had. And so the idea that he is now coming back, they are finally going to give us a Man of Steel 2 or a Superman 2 or whatever they decide to call it. They're going to call it Man of Tomorrow or what, Last Son of Krypton or whatever they're going to call it. It's all good. Henry Cavill being back is straight up orgasm inducing. It's amazing. It's something every film fan across the world should be holding hands together and singing out in praises to the sky gods themselves that Henry Cavill is back as Superman, and that's all that matters. Everything else is sunshine and rainbows and mating rabbits on the tree hills, and everything is great. I cannot believe that Henry Cavill will be back as Superman. I'm just kind of making all this up as I go along
bunnies
to express my happiness. I'm really, really keen on this. Anyway, Chris, you hear about this report. Number one, how much weight do we give this report? And if we're going on the assumption that's true, what's your takeaway from this?
I mean, I feel like between Dwayne Johnson saying he wants Henry Cavill to be back and just the incredible praise Cavill's gotten for his work in The Witcher, it'd be stupid not to bring him in. And we have a Superman-sized hole in the WB right now, right?
Massive hole, yeah.
So, I mean, we need to have him back in here. I think it'd be stupid to not have him be Superman again. And if he gets a deal that is worthy of his time and talent, I think people would love to have him back. So I think this is real. I believe this.
Now, look, if they're rebooting the DCU, hey, listen, I'm okay with getting rid of Henry Cavill. Because that would make, if you're rebooting, that makes sense. You got to start fresh. But if you're not, and it doesn't look like they are anytime soon, this is your Superman. This is your guy. And I'm extremely stoked to hear about this. Anyway, Rob, what's your takeaway from this?
Well, as we talked about yesterday, this is not surprising to me in the least. You know, first of all, it's really hard to find an actor to play Superman. I know because when I was working on Superman Returns, I watched all of the Superman Returns audition tapes. And I still have them all, actually.
Oh, I want to see them.
I don't know about that. But you'd be amazed at how many people audition people that you would not be surprised. Henry Cavill was one of them. And it's still very, very difficult. He was a perfect Superman. He looks the part. He's physically the part. And to not bring him back, he never got to make a Superman movie. There's not been in this modern age. There was Man of Steel, Batman v Superman. Where's our Superman movie? Like I pointed out yesterday, John, we've never had one. There's never been a Superman movie. It was Superman the movie.
In the DCU at any rate.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I think, there's never been a feature film just called Superman. You know, and now we're waiting.
What was Christopher Reeves called?
Superman the movie.
Okay.
And then there was Superman 2, Superman 3, but never Superman. And that's the logical extension of Man of Steel because he was becoming Superman. You know, and so now to make a Superman movie with Henry Cavill too, it's a no-brainer. I mean, and the problem is, what is the script going to be? And like I said yesterday, I think Dwayne Johnson pushed so hard because he wants to fight Superman. Yeah. And that's what you're going to wind up with the second movie.
Or, I mean, look, we remember the very first, we were at CinemaCon. This is many years ago. Dwayne Johnson comes out talking about how there's a power shift in the DCU, or the structure of power is about to shift in the DCU. And the image he pulled up on screen at CinemaCon was a picture of Black Adam fighting Superman.
That's what he wants.
In every social media post he's put out, it's been Black Adam and Superman. The odd one was Shazam in there as well, but the image has always been that. He's been talking a lot about how Henry Cavill is this generation's Superman, is one of the recent social media tweets. He recently put out a picture of him and Cavill sitting down having drinks together. We've repeated many, many times on here, in case you didn't know. His manager is his ex-wife. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's manager is his ex-wife, who's also the manager of Henry Cavill. So they share the same management. I mean, this has got to happen. But listen, all this joy,
Right.
all this excitement, this idea that we could see Black Adam versus Superman and all this kind of stuff, that all disappears if this Black Adam movie sucks.
Yes.
I mean, so my fingers are crossed that they've been working on this for like 16 years. I really hope they were able to pull something out of the hat here.
But you know, it also solves a big problem. One of the big problems in trying to make Superman movies, I said it yesterday, is how do you find an antagonist that's worthy of Superman that can work? I mean, Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, you have to have Batman have kryptonite or an armored suit or something. It's very difficult to have an opponent that's worthy of Superman. I mean, that's why in Christopher Reeve's movie, he fought a computer, and then he fought, well, nuclear war and then Nuclear Man. Not great antagonists.
What are you talking about? Don't you be dissing Nuclear Man.
Okay, all right. You know, some people
Diss away.
To be fair, you know, okay. But in a movie like this, how do you have a Zod level opponent? I mean, you can't bring Michael Shannon back. I guess you could, but it wouldn't work. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson with the addition of magic. I mean, that would be a fight, dude. They could fight on land, air, sea, whatever. I would love to see Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson as Black Adam fight Superman. I want to see that. And so do you.
I do. But I also believe,
And so do you.
also completely believe that you must, and I'm not even talking because of the comics, I'm talking because of the movies. You must incorporate Shazam.
Oh, yeah.
You have to.
Well-
When you understand that, like, and again, I'm not talking about the comics. I'm talking about the movies. So when you go back to Shazam, we get our Black Adam origin story a little bit in Shazam. We clearly see that there is a connection between those characters. If you're going to go and have Superman versus Black Adam, I think on whatever level you want, I think you've got to have Shazam as a part of it.
Well, then the obvious answer to that question, it would be an adaptation the same way the MCU does it. But you know what you do? You do Kingdom Come. You do Kingdom Come because Black Adam and Shazam fit right in.
Yep.
Now that would have to be a massive adaptation because
Sure.
Kingdom
Oh,
Come
yeah.
does not fit in the DCU the way it is right now.
No,
You'd have
you
to
would
do a massive adaptation.
You would have to adapt, but the same way, basically, you know, they adapted the end of The Dark Knight Returns for Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice with Batman fighting Superman or whatever. You could do a Kingdom Come, and you could incorporate the rest of because if you're going to lean into Shazam and Black Adam, you've got Aquaman, you've got Wonder Woman, and then you have the next generation. You could incorporate all those. That could be a hell of a movie. You think David Zaslav's not going?
Well, I mean, this goes back to, because this was another piece of the puzzle that going back, we had heard reports coming out of the new regime at WB that one of the top priorities for Zaslav was getting Superman, and he wanted Henry Cavill. So, I mean, this is just another piece of the puzzle. So mark me down as happy. I'm very happy. I don't know if you can tell. I'm pretty damn happy. Anyway, guys, question is for you. Are you happy? You know, what's the song?
Are you happy?
Because
I'm
I'm happy.
happy.
Yeah, I mean, I got that song. That's going to be my theme for the rest of the day. How do you feel about this reports that Henry Cavill not only is going to be in Black Adam, but they have already determined they're making and developing another Superman movie for him? Let's wait to hear what the official studio statement's going to be on it whenever that comes, if it comes. But for now, how do you feel about that? Whatever your thoughts are, jump down to the comment section below and leave those thoughts there. Okay, guys. With that down, we're going to take another moment here and thank our major sponsor of our show here today, the great folks and my cell phone service provider at Mint Mobile. Hey guys, we want to thank the sponsor of today's episode, Mint Mobile. Mint Mobile offers premium wireless starting at just $15 a month. And now for the plot twist. I'm just kidding, there isn't one. Seriously, Mint Mobile just has premium wireless service from $15 a month. There's no trapping you into a 2-year contract or opening the bill to find these crazy fees. There's no luring you in with free subscriptions to streaming services that you'll forget to cancel and be charged full price for. I used to dread opening my phone bill every month because every time I was opening it, it was like playing roulette
roulette. I never knew what the actual price was going to be, and it always seemed to get higher. But not with Mint Mobile. Mint Mobile gives you the best rate whether you're buying for one or a family, and at Mint, families start at 2 lines. All plans come with unlimited talk and text, plus high-speed data delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. And if you're worried about the complication of switching things over, don't. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and keep your phone number along with all your existing contacts. So guys, get premium wireless from just $15 a month and no unexpected plot twists at mintmobile.com/Campea. That's mintmobile.com/Campea. Seriously, you'll make your wallet very happy at mintmobile.com/Campea.
And thank you to our friends at Mint Mobile for providing me with much cheaper but super great cell phone service, and for being a sponsor of this episode of the John Campea Show. All right, guys, it's now time for us to move over to our live questions. Now, of course, a bunch of you guys, our beloved channel members, have been able to send in some of your monthly questions. We are going to take those, as you guys seem to be enjoying them. We're going to gather those up and we're going to address them in their own separate video a little bit later today. So keep your guys' eyes open for that. So for now, let's dive right into our super chats. And Chris, what do we have?
We have some support from Carlos16NG. Thank you, Carlos. Ben Rayner says, hey guys, so question, what video announcement did you like better? The Hugh Jackman and Ryan one, or the Deadpool April Fool's joke from 2015 announcing Deadpool rated R, or the one with Mario Lopez?
Oh, that was funny. That was very, very funny, but it's the Hugh Jackman one.
Absolutely.
For sure. 100% it's the Hugh Jackman one. Now, listen, Deadpool has reinvented the game of how you can market movies today. I mean, it's just been absolutely brilliant the way they've done it. But I mean, this announcement video with Hugh and the way they did it in a very uniquely Deadpool style way with that announcement, it was beautifully done, beautifully crafted. It's great. Now, by the way, just want to go as a little bit of a jump back to a callback, something we were talking about just recently. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, apparently just an hour or two ago, put up a social media post where, with a wink and a grin, is clearly teasing Superman and Black Adam. It's on his social media. I think it's probably an Instagram video of his, but you can go and find that there where he talks about Black Adam is the most powerful force on this planet. On this planet, third act. And he winks at the camera. He knows what everybody's talking about. He just basically told everybody that, yes, Superman is in.
What I like is his subtlety.
Yes, he's so subtle. In case you didn't know I was being subtle, wink. It's so subtle, but that's out there.
Wow.
You know, we'll probably discuss that. We'll probably unpack that and make way more of it than we should on Monday. When we get to that. All right, let's keep going here. What's next?
From Sam Fisher, are you going to do a spoiler talk for Werewolf? It was so good. I didn't think it was that scary, Chris, and no eye violence, I think. Thank you, Sam. I'm going to watch it tonight.
Yeah,
You'll like it.
No eye violence.
I'm excited.
No eye violence. We don't have any time that we can do it. There's no time for us to do a Werewolf by Night open spoiler discussion. So we can talk, because it's on TV. We can talk about it a little bit more openly, even on the show next week, because it's on TV. It's available for anybody to watch it right now. They don't have to make plans and get babysitters to go to a movie theater and have to plan a week in advance. So it's on TV. We'll talk about it next week. But no plans to do it because today is booked. We've got some stuff this afternoon, and then we got our Rings of Power thing later today. And then it's Friday, and we have to let people go home. But good question. All right, what's next?
From Ryder, is Rings of Power connected to the movies, or is it if you want it to be? Characters like Isildur don't look similar, but I've seen some say it is.
Honestly, the answer to that, honestly, it's a very good question. My personal answer is I don't care. I watch this show for the show. I'm not one, but I approach it the same way to MCU movies and DCU movies. I don't give a shit how they connect to the rest of the universe. All I care is the thing that's in front of me. Is this good? That's all I care about. I don't really care. So I'm going to guess it's supposed to fit. It's supposed to fit within the lore. So, you know, we obviously last week we saw the creation of Mordor and all. These are things that fit with our understanding of Lord of the Rings. So there's that, but how completely customized to it is it supposed to be? I'm not sure. And like I said, for me personally, I don't care because it doesn't make a difference. All right, what's next?
From Jay Master, Werewolf by Night was freaking good, and Man Thing, aka Ted, was so cool. Over under 5%, Michael Giacchino directs Blade after Werewolf by Night.
No. Listen, the one thing, as much as I really enjoyed Werewolf by Night, that was a very stylized, unique kind of project, I don't know that directing that, which was very 1940s and it had all the kind of tropes with that. Like, I don't know that automatically just translates, oh, you can do a modern Blade movie now. So I'm going to guess no. I don't think, well, not impossible. We've seen Kevin Feige make much more unique choices before, but Rob, do you think Gene Kino can end up directing Blade?
I think he could one day. I think it would be a mistake. I mean, this is basically his first time at bat. I mean, he directed films, little films and stuff before, but going from this, like everybody, I think he should direct a feature film, low budget feature first. Cut his teeth on something. So I don't think so.
Out of curiosity, does everyone speak with a transatlantic accent in this film?
No.
No? Okay, cool.
No.
All right.
All right, what's next?
From Andy, I have no soul. When Bing Bong died in Inside Out, I felt like a crowd witnessing the Avengers portal scene for the first time. It was so cathartic. Oh, you have
The pause and then just.
I don't. Is he saying he was happy that Bing Bong died?
like it seems like it. Andy, that makes me very sad because justice for Bing Bong.
Bing Bong, Bing Bong.
All
All
you
right.
don't have a soul.
What's next?
It's true.
From Stubble McShave, I love your enthusiasm for S-hero films. I'm superhero films. I'm kind of over them and see them later on streaming. I choose to spend my money on original films that look good.
I choose to spend my money on any films that look good. It's just that period. Look, I don't care whether a movie is an original film or a franchise film. That's an artificial distinction we make in our own brains. Whatever movie we go into, we go in, sit down, and we're going to see a story. And whether that story is a brand new character, which, by the way, even every original film you see is going to be borrowing tropes from films that have come before to some degree. It's very, very rare that we get a wholly original film that we had never seen anything done like that before. I mean, every movie to some degree has similarities and borrows certain elements from films that have come before it. So again, I don't really make that distinction myself. I just like good movies. And, I like grander movies. I tend to lean more towards the grander scale movies for sure. But then again, like my favorite film of the year is Everything Everywhere All at Once. My third favorite film of the year is still The Northman. My fourth may very well be Weird, the Al Yankovic story, and I'm not even kidding. But yeah, I just like a good movie, regardless of its scope, scale, or size. I just like a good movie. All right, what's next?
From Josh Becker, John, any thoughts on Smile movie?
I liked it. I did not think it was great. I thought it was good. I enjoyed it. Like, we walked out. Ann didn't like it, so Ann and I were talking as we were coming out. But I did enjoy it. I thought the performances were quite good. I didn't know that the lead actress was Kevin Bacon's daughter, apparently.
Oh,
I had no idea. But so I thought the performances were good. There's definitely some great jump scares, like some really good, fun jump scares. But also there were a number of things in the movie that I went, really? She wouldn't do this? Or really? That happens here? But again, overall, in a thumbs up or thumbs down world, Smile for me was a thumbs up. I'm not as enthusiastic about it as some, but I thought it was a thumbs up.
Over under 50%, I'd cry.
Over.
Okay.
Yeah. Knowing you. Yes.
Cool. Gone with the cheddar. Well, it was cool to see Daredevil. The CGI action sequences reminded me of the Affleck film. What are your thoughts on CGI for Daredevil?
I mean, listen, Daredevil is supposed to be able to do things that actual real life people can't do. And if you're going to do that, you're going to have to employ some things. So listen, I'll tell you what, there's that one scene when he literally jumped off the edge of the building and then she looked down and you can't do that practically.
right.
So if you want that, these scenes that it's easy to put into a comic book, you're going to have to do some CGI. For me, it totally worked. Yeah, I thought it worked. What do you think about it?
Well, I mean, look, they have a precedent like the hallway fight scene in the Netflix series. Great stuff. I think they have to use CGI sparingly with Daredevil because,
Yes,
the gritty.
Yes, only use it where you have to.
Sparingly. And I thought one of the problems, I quite like Mark Steven Johnson's Daredevil, the Ben Affleck Daredevil movie, especially the longer version. And I think the thing that hampered that movie the most was an over-reliance on CG. I mean, it literally opens with a CG rat going into a gutter. And I think that Daredevil is not a hero that lends itself to a lot of CG. It didn't bother me, though, in what we saw on the Netflix show.
Yeah, and it was used sparingly.
It was used sparingly.
You have to, and it keeps your budget in check if you use it sparingly, too.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
From Sam Fisher, what did you mean when you said She-Hulk episode 8 end was terrible? Like it was poorly written, or it was a terrible thing to happen to her? Because I liked it. I'm gonna just earmuff.
I thought it was, oh gosh, yeah, because it came out a few days ago. But the ending when they go to the gala and then the very predictable thing happens, and it's just, that is something that really should have been played out over the course of 10 or 15 minutes. Like it was just like, okay, we're gonna go to the thing. Oh, She-Hulk's a slut. Blah blah blah. Boom boom boom. And it just felt like very random. It felt very sporadic. It felt very predictable. And listen, I don't think anybody in that room, if they saw what She-Hulk saw in that room, nobody would be judging her. Like nobody in our real world, the whole world would be going, damn right, she should be ripping some walls down. Like, and I don't know. I just felt the whole thing was badly constructed. Overall, I thought it was the second best episode of the series besides the premiere, but that ending did not work for me.
Also, it did. I feel the same way. Ending on Daredevil doing the Walk of Shame
would have been the perfect ending.
There's your out, and it leaves you with. And if you wanted to do that whole gala thing, that's how you open up the last episode.
Yes.
And I'm like, I didn't understand. And also the things that they're accusing her of, they're slut shaming her. She'd be like, so. I think most people like, so what? My sex life is the fact that I get laid, but is a problem.
I'll give them this point though. Like anybody have their private stuff like that
of course.
Suddenly being aired to the world. I'd get
no,
pissed.
Of course. But I mean, it's like in this day and age, she's been humiliated and basically, to me, it felt like most people really wouldn't. It's not like she hurt anyone else. I mean, so someone put your private life on you. It's revenge porn.
Well, it's clearly a Hulk fanboy, which is, of course, the grand story is also going to be touching on the toxicity of fandom at the end.
Sure,
So,
of course,
for sure. But anyway, yeah. But listen, the important thing is you did like it, and that's great. Like if it worked for you, that is awesome. That's the beautiful thing about the arc is that it'll hit some people in some not so good ways, but that doesn't mean it can't hit other people in very positive ways. And if it worked for you, that's the only thing that counts, man. All right, what's next?
From Suthius, loved the games on NES, Super Nintendo, and Nintendo 64. But the games are the games and the movies are the movies. Sometimes you need adaptation. However, Mario could get the voice somehow, some way in the movie.
Like he bumps his head and starts talking that way?
He gets a little mushroom and he shrinks down and then he's like, okay.
Don't laugh. I was talking to Ann about this, that there is a thought that maybe once he gets really into the world, his voice starts to change, little things start to change. Maybe his powers start to develop where he can he comes in, he can't jump up, hit his head on a brick thing and smash it. But as he's there longer, these things start to happen. I mean, I'm not saying that's what they're going to do.
Or forbid that he becomes Mario for some reason. Some kid that becomes Mario.
Like a Shazam
is
situation.
transported into that world.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It could be anything right now.
Some
We
poor,
haven't seen
unassuming plumber.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
From Zach Marcello, Netflix half-assing the release is a self-fulfilling prophecy. If it doesn't do well, they're going to use it to justify not releasing in theaters.
Again, here's the thing that I think everybody's got to keep in mind. Netflix has never done this before. Like, we can't expect them to act like Warner Brothers, Disney, Universal, who are companies that have done this for nearly a century. And they know what they're doing. This is their area. Netflix has never done this before.
Well, they did with like Roma.
But that was a very tiny,
Sure.
tiny thing. They've never been a distributor. They have never been entered into an agreement with exhibitors on this scale. This is their first time trying this at all. And again, I come out of AMC theaters where they had a very, very strong crawl, walk, run philosophy. Where, do you guys know their A-list program was in development for almost 10 years? 10 years. I mean, you could just say, why did they just come out with their thing program? Well, because AMC has been a company that's had success for 100 years. And they've achieved that success by being cautious, moving slow, and everything that, and it was I'll tell you what, running a division at AMC was very frustrating for me, how slow some things sometimes moved. But still, crawl, walk, run. That is their philosophy. And Netflix, being a company that has no idea what they're doing, distributing even remotely wide with major theatrical exhibitors. They've never done this before. The idea that the first time they're trying it, they're going to do it in a little step. Anything that leads them to building that experience and then being willing to go 3 years from now, every one of their major films they put in theaters, if this is what gets us to that point, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. Now, I wouldn't be jumping up and down, Rob, and saying it's a mistake if they had just come out and done a regular full theatrical release. I wouldn't be calling it a mistake. I'd be saying yay. But again, coming out of AMC theaters that I worked in for almost 7 years, I can respect and I recognize let's take it one step at a time. We're going to try this. We have no experience at this. We've never done this. Let's stick our toe in the water. And I'm okay with that if it leads us to the right place. So that's just my take on it at any rate. All right, what's next?
From Zelda Master 702, Rings of Power review.
That is, listen, I don't know if you noticed, today's show was packed. So Rings of Power, open spoiler discussion. Yes, coming today at 3 p.m. Los Angeles time. So yes, come on back for that. We will be talking about it. It's all open spoiler. Goodness, we just had no time for it today on the main show, unfortunately. All right, what's next?
From Jordan G. Just finished Ted Lasso. And if done in a heartfelt manner, I believe Sudeikis could kill it as Superman in a standalone, character-driven film.
I don't know that I could see Jason Sudeikis as Superman.
I could see him being a Reed Richards.
I could see him being a Pa Kent.
Oh, okay.
I could see him being a Pa. I don't know if I could see him as. He's a very gifted actor. I have a hard time picturing it though.
Let me tell you something about Kryptonite, Lois.
You know, my daddy always used to say, Kryptonite is like porridge on a Sunday afternoon. It's always better when it's raining.
After he lands a punch, just goes barbecue sauce.
Barbecue sauce. All right, what's next?
From Ty Burton, I'm with Ray on the Mario voice. I don't think 2 hours of the Charles Martinet voice would have worked, but if Martinet wanted to try something different for the movie, I would have been open to it. Same, Ty.
Yeah, listen, that Ray raised a really great point of that. And listen, as an Italian, I'm not necessarily looking for, it's a me, a Mario. I'm not looking for, I am not that, but I was not expecting just to hear my voice in it. You know what I mean? So I don't know. But again, we got to keep in mind, we heard 2 lines. 2 short lines.
I feel sorry for it because I too was like, why did they get Chris Pratt at first? But
Right.
of course, I'm not going to stick with that. I'm not going to whatever. But I feel sorry for those who are going to stick with that and will not watch this movie because of that. Because they might be missing out, and that's just the sad thing about it. There's some people who are very wanting this movie to fail for that reason. You know what? I like what I saw. It's my world.
Kind of a stupid reason I want a movie to fail.
I mean, I'm with
Yeah.
you, Ray. Look, I think we should all wait before only judge things you've seen.
Yeah.
You can't judge things you haven't seen. And I think the movie actually looks quite good. I was not interested. I have to tell you, I was not particularly interested in seeing a Mario Brothers movie.
I wasn't
But
at all.
that trailer made me want to
Yes.
go. I'm like,
That
this,
looks
the
amazing.
humor,
Yeah.
the penguins alone, just the way you brought up the voice, you know,
Do you?
even the way when you see the catapults fling the snowballs and they all go pling, 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 pling. I mean, that made me laugh. That was funny.
Listen, it's okay to judge what you see, but keep what you see in context. What we heard was 2 lines. And okay, you know what? I wasn't thrilled with the 2 lines I heard. But I am aware that it was just 2 lines. I'm not going to pass judgment on the rest of the movie that I have not yet seen or heard in context. So, did I like what I hear? Not really. But it was just 2 lines, so I'm not going to overreact to it. So
But we
we'll
all think Chris Pratt being Garfield is dog shit, right?
Was he Garfield?
He's been cast as
see.
Garfield.
Cast as Garfield, yes.
Oh,
The voice-
for upcoming?
Yeah.
Yeah, for as the voice of Garfield. But again, it depends on what approach they take with the character.
Sorry, I couldn't help
suppose.
myself.
All right, what's next?
Well, then I hope Garfield fails.
From Dante Serrecchia. Hey, crew. As an Italian, I really don't want to hear Mario sound like he's fresh off the boat from Italy circa 1906. He's an Italian-American plumber from New York. I'm fine with him speaking as such.
I mean,
Yeah, again.
go ahead.
I was just going to say, listen, as an Italian Canadian, I can tell you, I don't want to hear 2 hours of, you know, Luigi. I don't want to. Oh no, I don't want to hear 2 hours of that. But maybe make him sound a little Italian.
But Peel playing Toad?
Sounds so good.
Yeah,
Oh,
that was
sounds so good.
Come on.
You guys know what I have queued up for after the show? They released an Italian dubbed trailer of the Super Mario Brothers movie, and I'm so
Already?
interested to see how
Wait,
that sounds.
wait, was the voice of Toad Peel or was it Keegan Michael Key?
Oh, Keegan-Michael Key.
Keegan-Michael
Okay,
Key.
I thought it was Keegan Michael Key.
Sorry.
Okay.
All right,
Yeah.
what's next?
From Raymond Reddington, when is Amy back on the show?
Amy will be filling in at some point in the future, but right now she's not scheduled at the moment, but she'll be back. All right, what's next?
From Ulatan, have a great weekend. I'm tuning in while on a run.
Ooh.
What's that?
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
What's that, Grace?
What are you running from?
Could be
Like running
yeah.
like Cheetos down your throat? Come on, you gotta
Yeah.
be more specific.
I think he might be running from something.
Are you okay? Ulatan, are you on the lam?
Like run as in what? I got a
Putting
question.
Cheetos down your throat.
This is a
chasing
room
him?
filled with healthy people, obviously.
Oh, okay. Let me look
We're
up.
like, why?
I'm gonna look up a YouTube video on run.
He could be on a jog or it could be yogging. It could be a soft J.
Yogging.
Oh, run in place too on a machine? What? Why would someone
No.
ever do that?
No.
You're not getting anywhere.
All right, what's next?
From Totodile Dundee, who sends in a $500 super chat.
What? Wow.
No, he forgot to put it for PS5.
For Ray. For Ray. Or for
That was
winning
so
2
generous.
times.
That was so generous of him.
Totodile done, dude. I'm floored. Thank you so much for supporting the You've been a viewer of ours for a long time for supporting the
Who sent
content
that
that you
in?
watch. Thank you so much, and shame on the rest of you for not
Totodile
living up
Dundee.
to Totodile Dundee's example. I'm kidding, of course, but no, dude. Thank you so much, man.
That is crazy.
I hope I have a good answer for whatever it is
Yeah.
you just sent in to ask. It's, oh my God, that's incredible. Thank you so much, man. We deeply, deeply appreciate that. What do we have here?
So Totodile writes, "Hey John, this month is my 7th year anniversary of listening daily. My
Oh,
topic for
wow.
today is, my favorite film of all time is Tremors. Can you talk about how glorious it is? Keep it filthy, mate."
Well, okay. Again, I'm just floored by your generosity
that-
and support. Thank you so much.
You're a
man.
producer here now.
I'm going to run out of words for that. Okay, so let's get to your question. I still remember the first time I watched Tremors. First of all, you got Footloose Boy.
Kevin Bacon.
You've got Remo Williams.
Fred
Gus-
Ward. Gus Grissom.
Remo
Ward.
Williams is my. I feel like that's my secret movie. I feel like Remo Williams, The Adventure Begins, is like that little movie, because every one of us have that movie that we really love that most people don't really know about. And I rarely come across people who have seen Remo Williams, The Adventure Begins, with Fred Ward, Wilford Brimley, one of the great, but you couldn't do him today, characters in Chun, I should say. You should stay home and make babies, preferably man-child. You can't do Chun today, and for good reason. But I love that. So you got that, and then you had Michael J. Fox's dad,
Michael Gross.
in that, who's also, by the way, in the greatest bad movie of all time, Vanilla Ice is Cool as Ice. He's also starring in that. I mean, and then this the whole concept
Reba
of-
McEntire, his wife.
Reba McEntire as his wife. It's such a fun movie, and it was very different at the time. It was Jaws on land in many ways, but just a lot more shtick and a lot more fun to it. Rob, when you look back on Tremors, how do you think about it?
Well, I think back to the beautiful Arrow 4K box set they released last year, the gorgeous restoration. I love Tremors. I mean, Tremors again, it is a comedic horror film that works like Shaun of the Dead as both a horror film and a comedy.
Right.
And that's really hard to do. And it never, and by the way, I love the creature design, the graboids or whatever. I mean, it combined all of those things into a heady mix. There's a reason why there's like 6 sequels, and a TV series. And it's a great film. And I hadn't seen it in a while.
Me either.
I hadn't seen it, and I got the disc. And I was like, you're in from the first 5 minutes when you meet Kevin Bacon and Fred Ward,
yeah.
Fixing around the town, and you love those guys. And it's just, that movie is so much fun. And they just don't we get the Asylum movies, but we don't get movies that can do both anymore. It's a really hard tone to capture, and the film
I feel like we
holds
were
up,
just talking about one. I feel like we were just talking this week about a horror
Slither?
movie that's also Well, I mean,
but you're
Slither-
right.
but I
It was
mean,
this
more recent-
week.
yeah.
we were talking about Shaun of the Dead. And we were talking about something else that's like.
And I can't
that.
remember it now. What the movie was that we were
I
talking
have a question.
Yes.
Is Tremors good enough to have movie club potential?
Ooh.
I don't know that it does because I
Just
remember
curious, out of
one of
curiosity.
one of the prerequisites for a movie club is a movie that just about everybody's watched. And I don't know if a whole ton of people have watched it. I mean, everybody's aware of it, but it's an interesting question. Maybe we'll have to think about
Plus,
that.
it's like 30 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an older film now.
Which is
And-
crazy to say, 30 years old. but-
I mean, that's anyway. To the Dial Dundee, again, thank you so much for supporting our channel on that level and being so generous, and we appreciate it greatly, man. Very, very much. All right.
Also, your handle is dope. Way to represent Gen 2 water types. You're the best. Yes.
All right. What's next?
From Fifi. Starting to think the Flash movie isn't real. Starting to, Fifi? Starting to?
Yeah. What did we just? Oh yeah, they've got edit lock on the movie now. So it's coming out in the summer. What are we now? 8 months away, theoretically speaking.
It's June, right?
Only 8 more months of the lie, Chris.
A lot of crime could happen between now and
A
then.
lot of crime can happen between the 8 months. Always looking on the bright side. Is Chris?
You think he has like some
crime?
I'm very optimistic about pretty much everything else in life except for this.
A lot of crime can happen between the next 8 months.
Checking them off.
Woo! All right.
What's next?
What's next?
The tagline.
From the Small Lebowski. The Rock has always been cold, but he'll never be stone cold.
Now, is that a movie reference or is that literally a Steve
Like,
Austin?
I think it's
reference?
Steve Austin.
It's a Steve Austin reference. Okay. I mean,
It could be both.
hey, listen, Steve Austin made a return at the last WrestleMania.
He
And
chugged so much beer.
He drank a lot of beer
Gosh,
that night.
Just shotgun and stuff.
Yeah.
But you know what? He performed well for a guy who hadn't been in the ring in what, 15, 20 years?
I always love hearing his entrance theme anytime it pops up. Even
the
if he's
breaking
on
glass.
a wheelchair going to the ring, I'll be like,
Steve Austin's back. And is that it?
Yeah.
All right, guys, and that'll do it for today's installment of the John Campea Show. Thank you so much for being here and making this show part of your day. Hey, guys, if you're looking for ways to help the show besides sending in super chats and watching the show, click the subscribe button, become a subscriber to the channel. Make sure you guys click the thumbs up button on this video. That helps the algorithm on YouTube as well. So thank you guys for being here and making this show part of your day. And a big special thank you to those of you who did send in your super chats, especially Dundee. Thank you so much for that. Number one, because it gave us great fun things to talk about. But number two, you supported this channel as you did it, and all of us involved with the show here. Thank you guys so very much for your support. So, for everybody in the room, Mr. Robert Meyer Burnett, we've got Chris Carr, the no longer reigning champion, but still more wins than anybody else, Ray Ora, producer Jonathan Boyko, working and running the show. And guys, don't forget, a little bit later today at 3 p.m. Los Angeles time, we will have our Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power after show, talking about last night's second to last episode of Rings of Power. We hope you guys will come back and join us for that. And then, of course, have a great weekend as well. That'll do it for us for now, guys. My name's John Campea. And until next time, my friends, bye-bye.